everyone, Jess here from the Equipment Guide. In this video, we'll take a detailed look at drop stitch construction, what it is, how it works, how it evolved, and why it fundamentally changed inflatable kayaks.
In this technical explainer, we're helping paddlers understand what drop stitch is and the material science behind modern inflatable kayak performance. If you've ever wondered why some inflatables feel soft and others feel almost hard shell-like, drop stitch is usually the reason. At its simplest, drop stitch is a construction method that allows two panel layers of fabric to be held together by thousands of internal threads. Imagine two sheets of reinforced fabric, one forming the top surface, one forming the bottom. Between them are tens of thousands of polyester threads. When the chamber is inflated, the threads prevent the surfaces from bulging outward, and internal pressure tensions the thread. The result is an extremely rigid flat panel. Without these threads, an inflatable chamber would simply balloon into a rounded tube. With drop stitch, it becomes a high-pressure structured surface. This allows drop stitch inflatable kayaks to maintain a much more rigid hull with sharper surfaces than vinyl inflatable kayaks. Before drop stitch became widespread, most inflatable kayaks used I-beam floors. An I-beam floor uses longitudinal air chambers running from bow to stern. I-beam hull floors are stable and simple, but flex under load, absorb paddling energy, and create a slightly spongy feel. Drop stitch introduced a rigid paddling platform. That changed three major things. The first is it improved energy transfer. With drop stitch, less power is lost to hull flex, and more momentum gets transferred to the water during paddling. The second is it increased hull shaping possibilities. With its structural stiffness, it opened up the potential to create smooth surfaces and sharper angles more similar to hardshell kayaks. And it also improved load capacity and stiffness. Because drop stitch can take more air pressure, that makes it more buoyant, and it can therefore hold higher weight capacities, while the stiffness of drop stitch ensures the hull doesn't sag at these higher capacities. It was the single biggest step forward for inflatable kayaks being taken seriously as touring craft. Drop stitch's rigidity comes from internal tension. When inflated to high pressure, the internal threads are placed under tensile load, the outer fabric layers are placed under compression, and the panel becomes structurally resistant to bending. The more air that goes into the chamber, the greater the tension placed on the internal threads, and the higher overall rigidity. The rigid, pressured surface results in better efficiency, because more of the paddler's energy is transferred directly into forward motion rather than being absorbed by hull flex. But not all drop stitch is used the same way. There are four common configurations. 1. A drop stitch floor with inflatable side tubes is a really common design. It's very stable. However, the underside of the hull remains relatively flat. This hull shape is excellent for recreation, beginners, fishing, and paddlers that value stability. It can also be a lighter weight design than a full drop stitch, but it does not replicate a curved hardshell hull. Then there are full drop stitch hulls. These type of hulls can hold higher weight capacities because of the higher air pressure they can contain, which makes them more buoyant. Full drop stitch V-shaped hulls use drop stitch panels to meet in a V shape along the length of the hull beneath the waterline. Its advantages are that it's rigid, fast, and has good glide, but narrow versions of them can feel really unstable because once they're tipped off to their central axis, even slightly, they naturally want to continue rolling onto the next flat surface. In a full drop stitch bathtub style hull, the floor is flat with sidewalls vertical. Many modern touring inflatables use this hull shape to create speed, glide, and paddling efficiency. They're more stable than a V-shaped hull, but still feel tippy, and the relatively higher sidewalls can catch wind more easily. In a curved drop stitch hull, instead of just joining flat panels to create shape, manufacturers bend within the panel in certain places as well as joining panels, allowing them to create more defined and rounded angles and an overall curvature in the kayak. This allows for curved, lower hull profiles, better water entry and exit, and more predictable tracking and turning. This is the closest hull shape to a hardshell kayak currently available. Over the last decade, the most common thickness for inflatable kayak drop stitch has been around 4 inches. This creates rigidity, but increases weight. Because it's a thicker panel, your center of gravity is higher from the water, which can make it feel less stable. Some manufacturers now use 2-inch drop stitch with specific hull shaping that maintains rigidity. This allows for a lighter kayak weight and creates a lower center of gravity for better stability and paddling ergonomics, while increasing usable internal volume. Thickness alone does not determine stiffness. It's also hull shape, abutting angles, and how the chambers are joined. Drop stitch refers only to the internal thread structure. The outer skin can vary, including high-denier PVC, fabric-covered PVC, and rubberized laminates. The choice of an outer material influences a few things. Abrasion resistance. All three types of materials have high abrasion resistance, though in some cases you can expect fabric to act as a sacrifice to avoid puncturing the inflatable surfaces underneath, and therefore may get loose threads or sagging in the fabric over time. It also affects drying time. Smooth, waterproof surfaces like PVC wipe dry quickly. Fabric, on the other hand, soaks up water and needs to be dried before storage. Another consideration is repairability. Small punctures in PVC can be repaired using patches and PVC glue. Fabric is more difficult to replace. However, some fabric designs have the capability for the thinner tubes to be swapped out in case of puncture.
Let's talk about some common misconceptions with drop stitch construction. Myth number 1. All drop stitch kayaks feel the same. They don't. Hull geometry as well as internal structure both matter. Myth number 2. Thicker drop stitch is better. Not necessarily. Thinner panels with better shaping can perform better. Myth number 3. Drop stitch makes kayaks indestructible. It increases rigidity, not immunity. Outer material and seam quality still determine real-world durability.
Well, simply put, the presence of drop stitch has a big influence over how easy and fast your kayak is to paddle, and therefore how much you enjoy using it. Its higher cost and weight is worth it, because it will make your paddling experience that much more enjoyable, and you'll therefore get more use out of it. But don't only consider whether it's drop stitch. Look at how the drop stitch has been integrated within the kayak design, like we talked about earlier with the different hull shapes. We have a more detailed explainer on hull shapes as part of our article, Everything You Need to Know About Inflatable Kayaks, which we've linked in the description.
Drop stitch is one of the most important developments in inflatable kayak design. It's taken inflatables from being recreational crafts to serious touring platforms. But it's not a magic solution on its own. Hull geometry, material quality, and intended use matter just as much.
At the end of the day, what really matters is how the kayak goes on the water. Over the years, our team has tested and reviewed well over 40 inflatable kayaks and counting. If you want to see how we rank them, click here or check out our 1 or 2 person review videos, where we rank each kayak on 5 key attributes we believe are important, as well as evaluate value for money. Or head to our website for full written articles. If you found this helpful, please consider subscribing. We look forward to seeing you out on the water.